I'm Chris Gardner of the Houston Round Ball Review, speaking with Dan Friel a second time, TBT co-founder. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Chris. It's great to be back with you.
Thank you for joining me. The schedule is out for TBT 2024. Let's talk about it from a Houston perspective. Forever Coogs, and if you don't mind, sir, I'm trying to be a little fancy here.
I like
Here we
it.
go. This is info via you guys and the Houston Cougars as well. But Forever Coogs will play Austin's own, the Texas Alumni, at 8 o'clock on Friday, July 19th. If Forever Coogs advance to the second round, they will face the winner of the Enchantment. I like that nickname, the Enchantment.
Yeah, it's
New
great.
Mexico Alumni
It's a great one.
and once the Broncos, the Boise State alums, at 6 p.m. on Sunday, July 21st. The Houston Regional Championship game is set for 8 p.m. on Tuesday, July 23rd. And I noticed, and I'm curious about this, how this all worked out. The Forever Cougs are the 2 seed in their own region behind, I think, North Texas alumni squad. Who does North Texas have to be the 1 seed?
Well, it's a North Texas team in structure. There's a bunch of non-North Texas alumni that played,
Okay.
but that team made the championship game last year and narrowly
Okay.
lost on an Elam ending bucket. So when you make the championship game, you're given some credit, obviously, and I think well deserved. So the team itself is very good. But yeah, I have high expectations for all the teams. One of the things that's interesting is like the gap between a 1 and an 8 in our event is much smaller than it is in the NCAA tournament between a 1 and a 16. Like all of these guys at this point are professional players. They all are able
Right.
to score at will. The shooting is off the charts, and so when you couple that with the level of defensive intensity that you're going to see, these games are all going to be tight. There might be 1 or 2 relative blowouts, but you're not going to see a 40-point loss like you would see in a NCAA tournament game or anything like that. It's going to be a really tight and hard-fought regional for sure.
And the Houston Regional is one of the 4 that begin on July 19th, along with Butler, Cincinnati, and Lexington.
Yep.
And then you got the other 4 starting on July 20th. Any particular reason on that breakdown of why some began one day and some the other?
Part of it comes down to television. Part of it comes down to ticket sales. I think the other part of it too is that what we're trying to do, this is the first year that we've ever run the regionals more or less contemporaneously. Typically what we've done is we've had 4 regionals play one weekend and then 4 regionals play the next. And this year, for the first time, we're able to run all 8 around the same time. So similarly to what you would see in the NCAA tournament, where you've got basically half the regionals starting on that Thursday in March, and then the other half starting on that Friday in March. We're trying to replicate that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a Friday night start, Saturday night start, and then you go to second round on Sunday, second round Monday, third round Tuesday, third round Wednesday. So it's an alternating pattern so that we can fill up as much air time and stream time as we possibly can with quality basketball.
And you touched on it right there. Had some big news a few days ago about streaming and linear and all those things. So share with everyone how they can watch the TBT.
Yeah, for the entirety of the Houston Regional, you're going to be able to watch the whole thing on the tournament.com. We're going to stream each of these games ourselves. Our deal with Fox enables us to have the rights to the games that they're not going to show on linear TV. Each of these games is going to be available. They're free to watch. So all you got to do is just sign up, send an email address in, and you're going to be able to watch these games. We use the same system in our soccer event, which we just ran earlier this month in North Carolina. It worked flawlessly. I think the presentation of it is top notch. And the best part is you can watch it on a web browser. You can watch it on your TV if you have a mirroring device, any of that kind of stuff. But the presentation of it's going to be great. I think fans are going to really enjoy watching all these games. And I think for me as a sports fan, one of my favorite days of the year is that Thursday, Friday of the first round of the NCAA tournament, because it's just from basically 10 a.m. in the morning until midnight. You've got as much basketball as you could possibly consume all day.
Right.
This is going to be kind of similar to that. You've got 2 straight days, and the best part is that it's on a Friday and a Saturday. So if you can get a Friday off in the summer, you should have Saturday off too. You can spend all day watching basketball if you want, and it's from all over the country. And you're going to see names that you recognize, teams that you recognize. Hopefully, if you're a TBT fan, you're going to see as much Elam ending bucket winners as you can, game winners as you can, and it's going to be a lot of fun, I think, for everybody.
And remind those who are who did not see our first conversation, describe the Elam ending.
So we were approached by this guy, Nick Elam, several years ago, 2016, I think was the winter of 16. The basic idea is that all of our games end on a made basket. We don't play down to a clock. There's no buzzer beaters, but there is a made basket to end all 63 of these games. So the basic idea is at the 4-minute mark in the fourth quarter, so where the TV timeout typically happens, at that 4-minute mark, the game clock goes off. It turns off entirely. You add 8 to the team that's in front, and then that becomes your target score, and then the teams play to that target score. So as an example, if the score was 80-79 at that moment when the game clock goes off at the 4-minute mark, the target score becomes 88, and the first team to 88 wins. So the benefit of this is that you don't have any of the end of the game following. There's none of that intentional stuff where you're trying to stop the clock and shoot free throws. None of that happens in TBT. What you do have is basically teams making stops on defense, trying to get a possession back. And if they go ahead and score, they're one step closer to winning that game. The other thing is you can't wait it out. Like you can't just wait to get fouled and then win a free throw contest. You actually have to go out and win that game. So what happens is that you see a ton of comebacks. I was in Peoria, Illinois, probably 4 years ago, and a team, 3 years ago maybe, and a team was down, I think it was 14 points or 15 points going into the Elam ending. And they came back and won the game. They had to go on a 22-7 run to win the game, and they did. And those are the sort of things that in the course of a game, a team could go on a 22-7 run, but it hardly ever happens at the end of a basketball game because of the clock running out. There's no clock to run out. So as long as you're getting stops and you're making baskets at the other end of the court, you can come back from a huge deficit and win that game. It just makes for an exciting experience for everybody. The players, you can tell the pressure gets to some of them, and you can tell that some of them thrive under that pressure. But it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Now, this is really a Houston perspective. How have ticket sales gone so far for the Forever Coogs?
I think we have some work to do. I think that we have an opportunity to do really, really well there. I mean, obviously, this is a program that, is, I think, unique in college sports in the last 5 to 10 years in the sense that they have become one of the true elite programs in the country. The fans are obviously a huge part of that. So we have some work to do, but I think the potential is there for this to really go gangbusters. And we've got another 3+ weeks to make it work. I think as we get closer to the event, people start to realize that it's coming to town. Some of the people start talking about it. We have a really good chance of doing really, really well. Our leaders are traditionally going to be places that we've been to for a couple of years. So sure. Wichita, for example, does really, really well. Louisville is doing really, really well. One of the great, pleasant surprises this year has been Indianapolis. It's our first year playing there at Hinkle Fieldhouse, and they've done a remarkable job of selling tickets. So I think Houston has a great opportunity to do really, really well. We have some work to do, but I think overall people will be pleased with the access, the affordability, and just the opportunity to go see them again.
And where can fans of Forever Coogs go to buy tickets?
Yeah, go to thetournament.com. That's the easiest thing to do. There's 2 things at the top. One says TBT, one says TST. TST is our soccer event. Can't buy tickets to that anymore. But go to TBT, and then there's a link right there that says tickets, and that'll bring you right where you want to go. But thetournament.com is the website. That's going to be your one source for everything. We've got all of our team pages up there. You're going to check out all the rosters. You can see the brackets. I'd encourage everybody to fill out a bracket. We do bracket contests like everybody else does.
Okay.
So fill out a bracket. If you win, there's some great prizes involved in that. Cash. So check out the prizes that we have. But anyways, thetournament.com, that's the site. So you can do as much investigation into these rosters as you want. If you're really digging deep and you want to know exactly what's going on, there's a website called Eurobasket that we use all the time to research like where these players have been playing for the last 5 years. So if you want to know what Rob Gray was up to this year, go to Eurobasket, type him in, and you're going to find out. But like, there's a ton of different resources that you can find on the internet about all of these players. And I think one thing that people will be surprised is that the guy that was the defensive stopper in college that has been playing now for 4 years in, you name it, in Greece and Spain and Italy, he suddenly now has developed an outside shot. And the shot that you wish that he could have made when he was 20, he's now making when he's 25. That's really one of the greatest parts of this event. So I think if you have any sense of nostalgia, if you have any sense of, wanting to see how guys have been doing, what they've been up to in their lives, they're all better. They all improve. Very few of us peak when we're 22 years old. And that same thing is definitely true for basketball players too.
And the payout is how much for the winner?
$1 million. It's $1 million. They split it however they want. We do something fun with that too. One of our sponsors is the cash sending app called Zelle, which everybody has if you have a bank account. So Zelle is one of our sponsors, and immediately after the championship game, we press a big button on a phone, and that money gets Zelled straight to their account. And it's one of the great things that we do every year on social media is to see that reaction of the players as they get that money in their bank accounts. But yeah, Zelle is the way. So it's $1 million. They decide how they want to spend it too. Some teams will make some donations. Other teams will pay off their mom's car. But yeah, that money is theirs to do with what they want.
Excellent. That's a great idea. It's a great concept. Salute to you there. And again, how long has TBT existed?
This is the 11th tournament that we've had. So we've been around since 2014. Started off in one location, and over the years, we've kind of developed relationships with all of these programs, and we're able to play now in some of the great places in the country, like the Fertitta Center, Rupp Arena, Hinkle Fieldhouse, Freedom Hall. So we're playing in these great places now. But this is the 11th year, which blows my mind that we've been able to do this as long as we have, and hopefully it continues for another 11 and maybe 22 or 33 more.
And I'm not sure you know this or it's been determined, but has the announcer crew or play-by-play color analyst been determined for the Houston region?
I think that it has. Let me see what I have here. Oh yeah, we've got some great longtime TBT guys. You're going to love this. Eric Dewick has been. This is great. So Eric Dewick has been calling TBT games since 2015, and he's a young kid. So he started doing this when he was maybe 21 or 20 years old. He knows everything about TBT. He probably knows more about TBT than I am. So he's going to be the color guy from Houston. He's going to be the play-by-play guy from Houston. Mike LaTulip is going to be the analyst from Houston. And so Mike is a former Illinois basketball player who lives in Texas now. But he's got some great background in TBT because he actually organized an Illinois alumni team for a couple of years in TBT and knows everything about the stress that goes into actually trying to pull these teams together. He can give you as much background on that as possible. He had a very difficult loss actually in Peoria a couple of years ago that he can tell you about on the air as well. But Mike's a great guy. Eric's a great guy. So they'll be calling all of the games down there from Houston.
Excellent. And some games are on the website, but you also have some games on linear. So what's the breakdown?
So it looks like in the first round, there'll probably be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 7 or 8 games on linear TV. That's going to vary between the main Fox channel over the air, as well as FS1, FS2, and a couple on the Big Ten network. The games from Houston are all going to be available on the tournament.com. Those games will all be streamed by us, and you'll be able to see them there. The games on Fox are going to vary from, it looks like they'll be in Louisville, in Wichita, maybe one from Dayton. So they'll be in 3 or 4 other locations. But all these games from Houston, you're going to be able to catch on the tournament.com.
Excellent, Dan. That's really what I wanted to I wanted to focus on the Houston area games, Houston regional games. And keep in mind, everybody, you lose, you're done. Okay.
Yeah, it's
correct.
Win or go
you
home.
have to win to advance. That's right.
Yep. It's win or go home. And that honestly, Chris, I'm sure as you can appreciate, watching the NCAA tournament or the Big 12 tournament or, any other scenario that's like that, when you have those win or go home games, the drama is just so much higher than it would be otherwise. And, especially in our situation where there's only one team that wins the million, what you're going to see is as close to football and a basketball court as you're going to find. There's nobody running around a pick in TBT. You're going to see some collisions. You're going to see some physical play. You'll see defense like you remembered the Rockets playing back in the 80s and 90s. You're going to see real hardcore basketball being played, and it's a style of play that I think we all used to enjoy, and I think you're going to see as much of that as you could possibly fathom this summer.
Thanks very much, Mr. Dan Friel. And Coog fans, UH alums, go to the tournament.com website and buy your tickets, because I heard, as Dan kind of touched on it, there is room for improvement there, fans. So buy your tickets, support your Cougs, you will recognize the players. You know, he touched on Rob Gray, Wes Van Beek, Justin Gorham. These are names you've seen before. You saw when they hooped for the Cougs. So support them. Come out and watch some competitive basketball. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be there as much as I can. Dan, is there anything else you want to add?
Nope, I think that's it, Chris. You're really nailing it. I appreciate you covering TBT, and obviously, we're excited about you being there in Houston as well, and we're very excited about being in the Fertitta Center for sure.
Thank you very much, sir. You take care.
You too.